When you watch television shows or commercial films, you cannot help but notice that the prevailing culture has basically accepted that sex is a normal human act that can be done by two people who are in love. Tanggap na siya ng karamihan sa ating kultura. Normal na lang siya. And they reason, how can something that feels so good not be right? But when one becomes a follower of Jesus, one thing that becomes obviously clear is this: one must put off sexual immorality. This is what the Apostle Paul said in his letter to the Thessalonians. For this is the will of God, your sanctification, that you abstain from sexual immorality, that each one of you know how to control his own body in holiness and honor, not in the passion of lust, like the Gentiles who do not know God, that no one transgress and wrong his brother in this matter, because the Lord is an avenger in all these things, as we told you beforehand and solemnly warned you. For God has not called us for impurity, but in holiness. When the Bible talks about sexual immorality, it refers to sexual relations outside of marriage. It refers to the giving away of sexual purity, which happens outside of marriage. You see, sexuality is God's design. God alone defines its parameters. And the Bible tells us that God designed sexual relations to be enjoyed exclusively by married couples. God designed us human beings such that we will best experience the gift of intimacy and love as married couples through sex. Sex is a wonderful experience between husband and wife that brings about physical, emotional, and spiritual bonding. When a person indulges in sex outside of marriage, it is done outside of the will of God. It is sin. And one cannot go against the will of God and not suffer the consequences. In the sight of God, one becomes impure, ceremonially unfit to come before the presence of God. When one persists in sexual immorality, one cannot enter the presence of God. One will be deprived of God's presence and will not be able to enjoy an intimate relationship with God. God's desire is that we preserve our bodies for holiness. He does not want our bodies to become impure in His sight. If you have committed sexual immorality, you may become aware of the sense that God is far away. Your prayers don't seem to get answered. And, it doesn't have to stay that way. You can decide right now to stop. Ask for God's forgiveness and promise to never commit sexual immorality again. God is merciful and gracious. He will forgive you. And you can decide that from here on, to keep yourself pure for your future spouse, and to give your body only to your spouse, and honor God with your body. And as you commit yourself to sexual purity, always remember, faith matters too.